Not every cartoon character deserves the spotlight, and in The Simpsons, there's no shortage of Springfield residents who turn bad behavior into a form of art. But just when you think they're the worst of the worst, South Park steps in to raise the stakes with characters that redefine twisted. Today, we're diving straight into the worst characters from The Simpsons and South Park. Let's kick things off with 5 of Springfield's most notorious troublemakers. Taking the 5th spot on this list are Patty and Selma Bouvier. These two chain-smoking sisters are the ultimate mean-spirited siblings who never hide their hatred for Homer. Their hatred for Homer is unmatched, as they go out of their way to mess up his marriage and enjoy every moment when he fails. Well, Homer isn't exactly the perfect husband, but they make things worse by rooting against him, even in times of crisis. When Homer fakes his death to avoid work, Patty and Selma show up to mock him with a tombstone written, "Homer J. Simpson, we are richer for having lost him." They're cruel and show no sympathy when Marge rushes to Homer's side after his heart attack. Their enjoyment of Homer's problems is almost creepy. Next up is Agnes Skinner, the bitter, controlling mother of Seymour Skinner. Mrs. Skinner doesn't just baby Seymour, she crushes him under a lifetime of verbal abuse, belittling his every move. She's never hesitated to call him a mama's boy. She shames Seymour publicly for everything from his job to his dating life. And let's not forget that she didn't even want Seymour in her life to begin with. When the real Seymour Skinner returned to Springfield, she rejected him outright, treating him horribly and favoring the imposter simply because he fit better into her idea of a good son. She has this strange way of making everyone's lives worse, whether through her nasty comments or her cold-hearted ways. Her toxic parenting style isn't just limited to Seymour, it spreads to everyone she interacts with, making her both miserable and destructive. In Mrs. Skinner's world, it's her way or the highway, and unfortunately for Seymour, that way is a dead end. Moving on, we've got Artie Ziff. Artie was Marge's high school prom date who takes creepy obsession to a whole new level. He's the kind of guy who thinks his money and brains make him better than everyone, but he makes sure everyone knows it. But his obsession with Marge is where he really crosses the line. Artie repeatedly tries to win Marge back, even though she's clearly not interested. At one point, he goes so far as to install a camera in Homer's sleep apnea machine so that he can spy on Marge while she's sleeping. Dude is a certified stalker. Artie's sense of entitlement makes him believe he deserves Marge's love, leading him to try and buy her from Homer severely. His arrogance is annoying, his invasions of privacy are frightening, and his need to control is endless. Artie keeps pushing, ignoring the reality that everyone else can see that he's just a creepy guy who doesn't know when to stop. In the number 2 spot, we have Springfield's notorious gossip, Helen Lovejoy. Won't someone please think of the children? Helen's shrill cry is less about concern and more about stirring up trouble. As the pastor's wife, Helen wears the mask of a concerned citizen. But underneath, she's a judgmental busybody who loves spreading rumors and dragging others through the mud. She's always willing to offer a helping hand, but only if it fits her agenda or feeds her need for drama. In fact, her entire sense of purpose revolves around getting into everyone's business. And when she's not stirring up drama, she's judging people harshly from her high horse. Her toxic, self-righteous personality makes her one of the least genuine characters in Springfield, as she only cares about others when there's scandal to gossip about. Helen's hypocrisy and holier-than-thou personality are exactly why she ranks so high on this list. And finally, we have Mr. Burns. There's no character in Springfield that's more rotten than him. He's the very definition of corporate greed and selfishness, going as far as blocking out the sun to force people to use electricity from his power plant. Mr. Burns' list of wrongdoings is endless. He poisons Springfield's water until the fish mutate, fires employees without a second thought, and even injures Bart in a hit and run without a shred of regret. Burns uses his power and money to control the town, including paying off the media to write positive things about him. His lack of empathy and love for others' suffering makes him Springfield's true villain. Since his earlier years spent hurting immigrant workers under his cruel grandfather's care, Burns has lived a life of selfishness and cruelty. He was so evil that no one in Springfield gave a damn when he was shot. If you thought Springfield had awful characters, then you've never met the residents of South Park. While the worst characters in The Simpsons tend to hide behind their weird personalities, South Park's worst characters are loud, rude, and in a league of their own. Here are the 5 worst characters from this Gen Z cartoon. Pip is a British exchange student who was one of South Park's first characters. However, he quickly overstayed his welcome. While Stan, Kyle, Cartman, and Kenny keep the show entertaining, Pip adds almost nothing other than being everyone's punching bag. And it's not just his classmates who find him annoying, fans do too. He's a character who never quite found his footing, showing up as the butt of the joke or to say something awkward in his British accent. By season 4, South Park dedicated an entire episode to him, but it only solidified his status as one of the worst characters. It's one of those rare episodes that fans usually skip, and even the writers recognized that Pip's time was over. His last appearance was in episode 201, and it was brief as he was crushed by Mecha Streisand. Next up is PC Principal. With his first appearance in Season 19 stunning and brave, PC Principal brought a hyper-aggressive, self-righteous vibe to South Park Elementary. He's meant to be a satire on political correctness, but he's also a huge hypocrite. He takes on this mission to make the world far more fair, but he uses violence to do it, especially if anyone questions his views. One of his most infamous moments is when he brutally assaults Cartman for using gender-specific words, showing just how far he's willing to go for justice. Fans quickly got sick of his over-the-top commitment to political correctness. What started as a one-time joke about modern-day social justice warriors turned into a permanent, exhausting theme. From starting his own PC fraternity to forcing students into ridiculous situations, PC Principal became one of South Park's most infuriating characters. His hypocrisy and anger issues made him both a standout and exhausting character in South Park. Stan's older sister, Shelly Marsh, is as mean as they come. From the start, Shelly has been defined by bullying her little brother Stan. She's angry, rude, and always finds a reason to pick on Stan, often using physical force just to make her point. And it's not just Stan who faces her wrath. She's quick to lash out at anyone who annoys her, calling them turds and carrying herself with a constant anger that rarely fades. Shelly's bitterness makes her a difficult character for fans to like, and her mean nature is fueled by her own insecurity about her looks. She's gone as far as destroying someone's belongings out of spite. She even burned the Blockbuster her dad had bought. While she has brief moments of softness, they're rare, leaving her as a one-dimensional character with serious issues. Mr. Garrison is one of South Park's most controversial characters who started as a third-grade teacher and spiraled into something much darker. He's known for his inability to teach anything remotely appropriate, often ranting to students about topics that would make anyone cringe. I mean, who talks to kids about topics like graphic details about their dating life and strange opinions about celebrities? His life becomes more disturbing as he questions his identity and even runs for president. His radical beliefs and unpredictable behavior make him a mix of funny and horrifying. Mr. Garrison's outbursts, combined with his lack of common sense, makes him one of South Park's most disturbing characters. His journey from teacher to radical figure is strange. His lack of morals and selfish attitude make him someone you wouldn't want anywhere near a classroom. At the top, we have Eric Cartman, South Park's resident sociopath and the perfect example. Cartman's crimes are legendary. The kid is a bully. He tries to convince his doctor's wife to commit suicide and even tries to get rid of all the Jews in South Park. And those are just but a few. Remember the time he fed Scott Tenorman his own parents in a bowl of chili after planning their deaths? He then shamelessly watched poor Scott cry and even licked his tears in celebration when he realized what had happened. Who does that just because of a simple prank? This isn't just cruel, it's one of the most disturbing acts ever in an animated show. Cartman's lack of empathy and his joy in others' pain make him terrifying. He's not just the worst character in South Park, he's possibly one of the most twisted characters in cartoon history. There you have it, guys. My pick for the worst cartoon characters in The Simpsons and South Park. Who did I leave out on the list? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more cartoon content.